It's been 40 years since the original movie, The Goonies, came out. Have you seen that movie? Mikey was a little boy who loved adventure, but none ever seemed to come his way. He lived in a place called the Goon Docks. His best friends were Mouth, Dada, and Chunk. Mouth liked making jokes. Dada invented gadgets. Chunk could make friends with anyone he met. They called themselves the Goonies. When a big company was about to destroy their homes, the Goonies discovered One-Eyed Willie's pirate map. The treasure was worth a lot of money. They could find it and save the Goondocks. Mikey's big brother Brand joined the Goonies on their quest. His friends Andy and Steph came along too. They wanted to make sure the Goonies were safe while they searched for the treasure. When Mikey found a skull-shaped key, they knew they were getting close. "Guys, look at this," he said. He knew that pirates loved skulls. But a family of criminals, known as the Fratellis, heard the Goonies talking about the treasure. They wanted it for themselves. The Goonies followed the pirate map into an underground tunnel. "It all starts here," Mikey announced. After beginning their treasure hunt, the Goonies realized that the Fratellis were behind them. Knowing the Fratellis were sure to cause trouble, Chunk went looking for help, and the Fratellis caught him. Mama Fratelli put Chunk in a dungeon. A man named Sloth was also locked up with Chunk. Sloth looked a little strange, but Chunk was always ready to make a new friend. "My name's Lawrence," Chunk said. "Sometimes people call me Chunk." Sloth told Chunk that the Fratellis won't let him join their gang because he looked different. That was why they'd lock him up. Chunk shared his candy with Sloth, and they quickly became best buddies. Meanwhile, Mikey put the key he had found earlier into a lock. It set off a booby trap. Big rocks fell down all around them. The Goonies jumped out of the way. They were very brave. But then Brand heard a noise. "Listen," he said. "It sounds like somebody's down there." He ducked into a cave and looked around. Suddenly, dozens of bats flew out. "Bats?" The Fratellis were catching up to the Goonies. As they got closer to the treasure, the Goonies realized the bad guys were following them when they tried to cross an old log bridge. "I got a great idea, you guys," Dada told his friends. "Slick shoes." Dada pulled a string on his shirt and little nozzles appeared on his shoes. The nozzles squirted oil all over the bridge. Jake Fratelli tried to cross it, and so did his brother Francis. They slipped. After the Goonies had safely crossed the bridge, they saw a door and an organ made of bones in front of it. According to the map, someone needed to play a tune by following the instructions perfectly. Andy was scared, but she tried and it worked. The door opened. The Goonies walked through the door and wahoo! Went down a water slide on the other side. The water slide dropped the Goonies into a lagoon. They looked up in shock. A pirate ship was docked there. It was One-Eye Willie's ship. The Goonies went inside the boat. Piles of gold and jewelry were everywhere. "You know something?" Mikey said to Willie's skeleton. "You were the first Goonie." Suddenly the Fratellis showed up, and they were holding pirate swords. Mama Fratelli wanted the Goonies to jump overboard into the choppy waters below. "Walk the plank," she barked. Just then, Chunk and Sloth arrived, both wearing pirate hats. They had escaped their prison. Sloth called to the Fratellis. "Hey, you guys!" "Chunk!" Mikey exclaimed. "No, it's Captain Chunk," Chunk answered, adjusting his hat. Sloth quickly overpowered the Fratellis. The Goonies were safe. But not for long. The cave walls around the lagoon began to rumble and fall apart. The Goonies and Sloth got out just in time. Mikey had taken some jewelry from the pirate ship. He gave them to his parents, who were waiting for him on the beach. Now Mikey wouldn't have to move, and neither would his friends. They had saved the town. "We don't have to leave the Goondocks," Mikey told them, all with a big grin. No longer trapped in the lagoon, One-Eyed Willie's pirate ship drifted out into the ocean and sailed away. The Goonies cheered as they watched it go. Mikey and his friends had been on one incredible adventure.